Ginger and Lomax walked into the village square. Decorations were still being taken down from yesterday's fair. A man stood on the central stage, his voice filling the air. Ginger listened to what he had to say, but Lomax didn't care. Some politician from Kanadia, no doubt not worth his time. He wasn't interested in a crook selling his lemons and his limes. Ginger joined the attentive crowd, but Lomax was feeling bored. He just wanted to go to the blacksmith and buy his brand new sword. He wandered around a bit and browsed through the market stalls. The audience seemed captured. Lomax paid no attention at all. It was then that something caught his undistracted eye. A tiny light, like a fairy, hovered by the market's merchandise. Then all of a sudden it darted towards an unattended backpack. The satchel levitated, this twinkle of light was stealing a bag. "Hey, stop! That's not yours! Put it down!" shouted Lomax. Ginger turned around to see the fairy making off with the sack. "Stop right there, you luggage thieving twink. You won't escape, no matter what you think. We'll chase you down, you'll never get too far. You won't get away with this, we'll trap you in a jar." The ferry took off from the village square as quickly as it could. Lomax ran after it so fast the wind blew off his hood. Ginger, now alerted, followed behind and tried to keep pace. The tiny rainbow light rushed away in its attempt to escape. It flew north, past the inn, past the church and into Porkin's farm. Lomax almost knocked Gaffney off her feet, not meaning any harm. Ginger stopped for a moment and said with all his dwarven charm, "We're chasing after a thief, dear lady, please don't be alarmed." He set off again to catch the twink, cornered in the fly at Garrick Heights, way down by the strolling goods. It was exhausted, try as it might, it glided up and over the cliffs and thought that it had won the day. His pursuers caught their breath, looking at the chasms in their way. It seemed like the twink had evaded them, but Lomax had a thought. We could jump down on the giant mushrooms, they look kinda soft. Ginger thought the plan was dumb, Lomax's ideas always were, but they normally worked out even when they were stupid and absurd. "We won't give up, you luggage thieving twink. You won't escape, no matter what you think. We'll chase you down, you won't get too far. You won't get away, we're gonna trap you in a jar." It wouldn't get the best of them, the brave dwarf had determined. He volunteered to go first, even though his survival was uncertain. He jumped off the cliff face before Lomax had a chance to reassess. Lomax looked with shock as his father figure left justice must be done. They were in pursuit of a felon that had nowhere to fly or run. Finally, the twink fell to the ground with exhausted wings. Please, I'm sorry, have mercy. It pled, but couldn't do a thing. We got you now, you luggage-stealing twink. We've chased you down, whatever did you think? There's no escape, you'll never get too far. You won't get away, we're gonna trap you in a jar. Lomax squeezed it in his hand, the fairy bit down on his finger. Get that check, Twinks are riddled with diseases, suggested Ginger. See the doctor and clean it quick, you don't want to get infected. Ginger took the fairy, popped it in a jar and tightly closed the lid. What now? Are we ever gonna let it go? Lomax asked. No, absolutely not. These vermin are far worse than the rats. These critters can be useful depending on the manner that they die. Anything but that, the twink screamed and then began to cry. His head. When soaked in ammonia, twinks are useful when they're dead. It's an old trick the miners used, lad, you're still wet behind the ears. The mix of twinks and urine can light a cave for months and years. You mean drown him in your weed? Isn't that a little cruel? Don't be so soft. This thing is evil but can make a useful tool. Twinks like this possess a strange energy that can be harnessed. This song has gone on too long. It's all so bizarre and retarded. We've got you now, you luggage-thieving twink. You're gonna drown in piss, no matter what you think. There's no escape, you'll never get away. We're going to use you as a lantern to light the cave.